Hey folks, it's me. So I need to talk about some big things that I hope turn out to be little things. I started having some upper left chest pain about, I think, 6 weeks ago now. I tried to ignore it, and it came back, and I started being really easily fatigued. I mean, really easily fatigued. Having to catch my breath in the middle of a conversation, kind of fatigued. I reached out to my doctor's office, hoping for once somebody would say, it's just anxiety. And they didn't. They said, come in. And we ended up having a heart echo done that turned out beautifully. But I still had to see a cardiologist. And the cardiologist is concerned for pulmonary hypertension, which would be, it's hard to explain because I'm definitely not the expert in it, but it's really hard high blood pressure in your lung as it leaves your heart. And, considering I just lost my dad in December to what we presume was a heart attack in his sleep, and his dad didn't wake up from heart surgery, I think we're just probably looking into things with an abundance of caution at this point, which I appreciate, and I want to, make sure everything's fine, and, though I'm recovering from I'm extremely tired all the time thing that happened shortly after, the chest pains come and go, and I'm not okay with that. They're the same pain every time. I can't find them. I can't locate them. Like, when you've got that muscle ache and you rub until you can find the tender point, and you're like, that's where it hurts. The whole thing hurts, but that's the spot. I couldn't find it. I'm rubbing where my GERD pain is, and what's sort of like your epigastric area under your breastbone, and right under my left rib where your stomach really is. And I'm like, I get pain there all the time because I've got a lot of GI issues. I'm familiar with those pains, and this wasn't that pain. I even thought, well, maybe this is, just really bad breast tenderness because of, I cycle or something. And, I'm trying to find it there. And they're like, girl, it ain't me. And I'm like, crap. So I went in. And now on Monday I have to have a heart catheter to make sure that there's nothing going on there that they didn't see on the echo, and see if there's any pulmonary hypertension. And then I have to have a stress test the following Friday. So, we'll see. I'm not looking forward to the COVID test I have to do before each one, even though I'm already vaccinated and just had a COVID test before the echo. It's ridiculous, but, a little thing that is a little thing. Hopefully. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous. To be honest, I'm more nervous about being under a Twilight Sleep. The last time I was under one didn't go so well. What a Twilight Sleep is when you have to have a semi-invasive procedure where you don't have to be sedated completely, but they basically, wipe your brain so you don't remember any of it. It's a series of drugs that keeps you from remembering what's going on, but you still experience what's going on. And the last time I had one was for an endoscopy where they put a scope down your throat for my GI issues. And I have memory of when they were taking the scope out, I fought them. And they had to hold me down, and then I got up and I puked. As I pulled it out, I projectile vomited all over a nurse. God love her. Oh, the poor thing. And then I didn't get to say I'm sorry afterwards because I never saw her again. I went into recovery and that was that. And I still feel horrible. If that was you, I'm sorry. So I'm not looking forward to that. Especially because this time there won't be a scope keeping me from speaking, and I am a talker. Obviously. But, is it stupid? That's what I'm not looking forward to? I don't know. I think I'm telling myself that's what I'm not looking forward to, so that way I don't stress over, What I'm really not looking forward to is, like getting the answer that there's something seriously wrong. But hopefully it's fine. I also see a dermatologist in the morning because when you're a big person like me, parts of your body rub that other people don't have issues with, and it causes abscesses. I'm like, okay, I've been getting them my entire life, pretty much, and it's time to get them looked at. They have increased in frequency, and they're disgusting. And I'm getting them in places that don't rub now, so that means an infection may have spread, and I gotta get looked at. So we're doing that. Only I'm going to have to talk to her also about some freckles. I'm a pasty Irish girl. I have freckles. I know you can't see them in this video, but I have freckles. They're all through here. They're all up and down my arms, all over my shoulders. And anybody who has freckles, in the summertime you get freckles. The sun comes out, it hits you, and bam, freckles. Well, I have one up here, middle of winter, that is really big, and it's probably the only one you probably can see if you look closely enough in the video. But I ignored it. It's not circular. And then I have an age spot. I've been calling it over here. It's more ovalish. And then a few weeks ago, I got one on my palm. And I made the mistake of Dr. Googling myself. Well, kinda. I Googled, can you get freckles on your palms? Yeah. It told me I should get it checked for melanoma. So that's great. Which, it's not as bad as like when you put yourself through the WebMD symptom checker, which, being the geek I am, I like to see exactly which ones do you have to put before it tells you you have cancer. So, and the combinations are really interesting. But, I'm like, okay, it's probably a good idea to get checked. I'm a former smoker. I've spent a lot of time out in the sun in my day. My grandfather had skin cancer, my mom's side. It was removable and benign, though. So I'm like, okay. I was like, alright. It's time to see into that. Also, I got like this weird lump. It's kind of hard to see. Kind of see it there. There you go. On my arm. It's been there for about 5 years. And it suddenly started getting tender 2 weeks ago. And then a week ago, my freckle on my palm now has a baby freckle right next to it that's black. So, we're going to get it all checked out. And then we're just going to laugh and laugh and laugh when she tells me that I'm an idiot for Dr. Googling and that is nothing. It's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. Wonderful. The biggest thing, though, I think that has me anxious right now and upset right now is that I did something today that I'm afraid might be taking things a step further than I wanted to in order to kind of stand up for myself when it comes to my healthcare. So some backstory. Like, I've had the same primary for 8 years. Even when I was in Tennessee, like, I never really got established with a real new primary. I hated it in Tennessee. And so I didn't want to put down roots. But I really have always trusted the one that I have. I started going to see him 90 days after I quit drinking. And he has seen me through my messiest and worst, mood swings and psych issues and everything. He's one of the 3 people in the world that I trust. And so when this past fall I started having chronic fatigue episodes and, all this random crap happening, I didn't feel like I was really taken seriously with it. And then the following physicians I saw, in order to rule some things out, see what could be causing them, all immediately jumped to asking me about my mental health. And took rather demeaning tones and patronizing tones, and until they found out that I'm pre-med, that I'm a neuropsych major, and that I'm a medical scribe. and then all of their tones changed. And for anybody who has significant mental health history, and, you know, even for those that are obese, like, we get tired of hearing the answers that it's stress, it's anxiety, and that you need to lose weight. No shit I have stress. I'm a human being. No shit I need to lose weight. I'm 350 pounds. And no shit I have anxiety. I have an anxiety disorder. So how do these things apply to my situation? Like, how do I mitigate this? How do I maneuver through this? If that's what it is, explain to me why and how. You know, it's not an answer. It's just not. And anybody who gets those answers will tell you that, like, no, like, that's not good enough. Like, if this is stress-induced, then tell me how I mitigate it. You know, tell me exactly how, because stress does a million things to your body, and I want to know which one it is. Well, in February, I had to start taking a medication for my IBS and my irritable bowel syndrome, if you're not familiar, and it stopped the fatigue episodes, like that. If I take the medication, I don't have them. If I don't take the medication in the morning, I do have them. If I take the medication really early in the morning and I have a really long day, by the end of the day, I have them. So, what is it about this medication that fixes it? Because it's not stress if this medication is fixing it. And when I suggested that if this is stress and anxiety, that my primary speak with my psychiatrist, they had a conversation that ended up with my psychiatrist telling me that they agreed that it was somatic, which somatic means that it was created in my head and I'm having genuine physical symptoms based on this creation. And I just lost it. I didn't speak to my psychiatrist for 3 weeks until I started having tests run, you know, that my ENT thankfully stepped in and started doing something about. And I was always really afraid to really talk to my primary about how much that bothered me. How much it all bothered me. Because my last appointment with him before that call, my diagnosis for the appointment, even though I came in talking about the fatigue episodes, was that I was suffering from anxiety, panic attacks, and the encounter with a student was one of them, which really bothered me because I have really bad imposter syndrome. And so I have a hard time with the whole, like, being in school and, you know, doing this, taking this route thing. And so to have him think that I can't make it, you know, that's what I heard when I saw that. And, you know, that was a big problem for me. I have felt gut kicked ever since. Well, going through all of this, like, you know, I'm trying to rebound. This is a relationship that means a lot to me, obviously. And then I had to go in last week because I've been having all sorts of random pain. And I had emailed because I was having significant pain. And I was like, I don't know where it's coming from. I'm having, like, these, like, sharp pains that just kind of, like, run through me. And it's, like, this weird nerve pain. And I'm like, I don't know. Should I be worried, you know, with the meds I'm on? And I've recently started, like, is that something? Like, I was basically looking for an email back going, no, you're fine, chill. But the nurse called and said I needed to come in. And by the time I could get an appointment to come in, it was this past Monday. So it was 5 days later, and my symptoms were gone, and I was feeling a lot better. And so, you know, we ran some blood work, but other than that, we're just like, okay, yeah, we're fine. Which I would be fine with, if that was, okay, yeah, we're fine. But then, this Monday, I finally got it in my inbox, my notes from that appointment, and my diagnoses for the appointment. Actually, it wasn't my diagnosis, it was my the top part of your chart is, supposed to contain your name, age, sex, chief complaint, and pertinent medical history. And I'm a medical scribe. I do people's charts for a living, okay? And my pertinent medical history was a list of my mental illnesses. Pertinent is the key word here. When I'm coming in talking about this random pain that I've been getting, my mental illnesses shouldn't play as much of a role in that. Now, with borderline personality disorder, it is known across, I hate to say the business, but the field, we'll say the field, that those of us with the disorder have a history of, or stereotypically or frequency or however you want to put it, of seeking out care where we can find it. Like, not just healthcare, but just care, attention, affection, a lot of people end up finding that with their healthcare providers. And so they go back frequently because, somebody cares about me here, where nobody cares about me in the rest of my life, or, that kind of thing. And so, with how frequently I have been in there, because we never got resolution the first time around, so it's been frequently, because the symptoms are still there, or they keep coming back, things like that. It wouldn't surprise me if that's what he's thinking. But it should have been addressed. And it should have been addressed back in the fall if that's what he was thinking then, too. Because I've been miserable. My whole life has been screwed up since then. So I reached out via email yesterday and I said, hey, we need to talk. And how do we have this conversation? How do we set up this meeting? How do we set up this time so we can have this conversation? And because I need to start seeing resolution, I need to talk over my plan, of care, my entire plan of care, and, and I also want to know why. Why was this a list of mental illnesses as pertinent in medical history? These are the little things that end up being big things. These are the big things, these few words. Okay, maybe that's what he's thinking, that this is a borderline, attention-seeking thing. But it's not. And when you put that kind of language in a chart, the following providers that read it are then going to look at you through biased glasses. They're going to look at you through glasses tinted with your behavioral health history, which makes it impossible to get real care. And I have a feeling that somewhere in my notes in the fall, something was said that has things biased. So I called today and spoke with patient relations to ask, how do I get my hands on these charts? Because I want to read what they say. And I think that took things a little further than I wanted to. Because I wanted the charts still, but she asked me why. And so I told her why. And so now she's going to set up the conversation between me and my doctor. Which I didn't want it to go that far. I think when it does go that far, defensiveness happens. And that's not what my end goal is, My end goal is to be like, yeah, I've been upset about this. Let's talk about this. Let's find out why you're thinking this. Let's change this. And I hate to say this, because seeing this on both sides of the fence now, working in the hospital and seeing just how easy it is to become biased with things. It's like, okay, yeah, you've picked up a bias along the way. And yeah, it sucks that I'm the one that it's getting applied to. But if it's getting applied to me, of all people, that, has known you this long, then who else is it getting applied to? And put yourself in check, kind of thing. And sometimes the bias proves out to be right, and it sucks. It does. It sucks. There are so many ways that I can tell you that I've already seen that the bias ends up proving true. But, not this time. And it hurts. It hurts. Those relationships in our lives are very important. And to me, this one is especially, So, I have a lot of anxiety about how that's going to turn out. Which doesn't help the heart situation. Which doesn't help all my other anxiety and depression situations. And, doesn't help me when I'm wondering, oh God, is this freckle more than a freckle? There's enough on my mind, So tomorrow we'll start seeing a little more clearly all of these pictures. And I'm scared for the outcome of all of them. So I really hope that these big things end up being little things. That, it's nothing serious with my heart or my lungs. That my freckles are just freckles. And that my primary doesn't hate me. So, probably gonna go cry myself to sleep. So that's the way of the world right now. I mean, it's either that or go find brownies. And it's after midnight, and I've got a 9:15 appointment about freckles. So I don't think I'm going to go find brownies. I don't need brownies. Just really want brownies. They don't really solve anything. They just taste good while you're miserable. But yeah. Have a good night, folks.